Today I'm going to be talking about the subject of choosing strategies for persuasive messages. So there are three strategies for persuasive messages. One is direct request, the second one is problem solving, and three is sales patterns. These are the three different types, and I'm going to go through each one and explain them further. So for direct request, basically in direct request you're stating a message clear-cut and blatantly, so there's no emotion or logic used. When using direct request, you are not expecting any resistance to be held against the message. So when would you use direct request? You'll use direct request when your request is straightforward. So when you don't expect the other party to not want to follow through with the request. When you're doing your direct request, you're going to begin the message with the request rather than putting it in later into the message. You want to start off the message right off the bat with the request, and you want to keep it simple. So you're not going to be going into a big beforehand story or persuasive logic beforehand. You're just going to straight cut ask the question or the request and then just keep it simple. You're still going to want to maintain good rapport with the reader, but you don't have to spend too many paragraphs or sentences building up to the request. So an example of this would be a company requesting for employees to turn in their timesheets. So say a manager is asking all of the employees, he sends out an email to everybody asking for you to turn in your timesheets by this time on Friday to this employee. So this is a direct request. It doesn't need to have a lot of explanation, emotion, or logic because the employees should want to turn in their timesheets because of course they want to be paid, and the employer wants the timesheets collected so that he can go about his duties as the employer. So the second one is problem solving. So problem solving is used when the request is logical. So you're going to state the problem and then of course provide logical solutions. So that's where you are going to have a little bit more beforehand. Before you actually make the request for change, you're going to state the problem thoroughly in a way that makes the reader feel like there is a need for change. And then you are going to provide that solution. And of course, when you provide the solution, you want to weigh the good versus the bad, and then clearly provide that the good outweighs the bad. So you want to make it clear that this is logical, this is the solution for the problem because of facts. Now when to use it, you're going to use this request when the logic is clearly going to be a benefit. So an example of this would be relocating a desk from the front of the office to the back. So basically by this I mean that say you're an employee and your desk is located at the front of the office where you're dealing with customers walking in the door asking you any type of question. You're constantly having to stop your task and deal with customers. So maybe you have a specific task that you need that time to sit and pay attention to the task, and that will help you not make as many mistakes. It'll help you be more thorough and get the job done more efficiently. So maybe you will ask your boss to be moved into the back of the office where you won't be dealing with customers firsthand, and maybe have somebody that's in the back that has a job that's not as brain intensive or detail intensive to move up to the front. So this is a logical request. So you're going to use logic to explain why you need to be moved or relocated. And then the last, sales pattern, is basically just the opposite of the logical one. So you're going to be using emotion to persuade the reader. So a lot of the time what can be helpful with using the emotional appeal is to storytell or use the five senses to put the reader in your position or to make them feel a certain way. So you want to use this when the request is emotional and you need the reader to sympathize with you. So an example of this could be that an employee is emailing their manager asking for more time off because they feel like they're not spending enough time with their kids. Of course, this is a personal need and there's not really any logical it's not logically based. I'm sure there could be some logic in it. They could claim that they might work better when they're out on the job if they're not feeling like they're, less at home. But for the most part, this is an emotional argument, an emotional request. So they're requesting for time off to spend with their kids. Maybe they're even requesting specific days off that they need because they're missing out on something that their kid is involved in. So that's an example of sales pattern. Okay, so those are the 3 different persuasive messages. Now, I just wanted to outline this, so you do have to keep in mind that for all persuasive messages, so all 3 of those messages, the primary purpose is to have the reader change their belief or opinion. So whether it's direct, logical, emotional, you want the reader to change their opinion or to make a movement after reading this. And then, of course, the secondary purpose is to build a positive image of the messenger. So no matter how thorough the message is or how short it is, you want to build good rapport with your reader. So you want it to be well written, you want it to have correct grammar, you want it to be, politically correct, everything, just so that you, as the writer, look good to the reader.